Everyone wants to achieve greatness in their vocation, career, and the space they find themselves in life. But the question really is that, is greatness an option for all? The answer to that question is most definitely yes. You're today probably listening to me and saying, hey, this sounds great. In fact, it sounds too good to be true, because you don't really understand the kind of adversity that I or we are as a human race going through. Well, you can ask me, did you say adversity? Well, that's exactly and precisely what I want to talk to you about today. Take a look at this video and then let's connect back again. Wow, what a video! How well it speaks to us through that. But if you guys say that I don't see any adversity, well, the world, as you know, have changed and will continue to change and evolve. We can actually look at a predefined at this time a pre-corona and a post-corona world. Through the next 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you guys through a few important concepts. What are the few industries that are affected and mostly would soon become obsolete? If you have aspired to look at a career, build a business in these industries, then it's time for you to start making those moves or the shifts soon. I'm also going to share a few things that have changed in the world and probably will change forever, and the industries that are going to be winning in the post COVID-19 world. So let's take a look at the concepts changed that have changed over now. You see, the world has changed forever. The world was like this, and now we are here. Man, was always a social being, and is now we have been told to socially distance ourselves. So now, when the world comes back, it's not to go back. It's not going to go back to the original state, but it will go somewhere in between, or probably maybe lower than where it is. From what is being shared below, you will get to know more about these changes. What is the next thing that has changed? Adaptation is the key. If you are very rigid in your thinking and your thought process and not ready to make the shift or the change in your life, it could be both personal or professional, then you're going to find yourself on the losing side. The next thing that is the concept that has changed is that the nature has actually given us a slap, an ego slap. It seems like the nature has given us a wonderful change of events. We have gone to be living more conscious lives now, doing things more consciously. This would mean thinking about our natural resources and using it wisely and carefully. It's moving from a consumer mentality to a more caring, giving, and sharing, and coexisting with nature. The next thing that has changed is the survival of the quickest. It's no more the survival of the fittest, but of the quickest. The faster you can adapt, the better it is. There are so many job losses, skill fitment issues. So unless you move quick, upskill yourself quick, we will be left out. Now let's look at what are the affected industries because of this situation currently. The first one, travel. Oh boy, COVID-19 has caused a major upheaval in the travel industry. This industry is completely in the negative. People aren't traveling. Take a look at our airports. This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry that has gone down, right? And a related industry to that is the tourism industry. Estimate says that this industry is a 2.9 trillion industry, and this has gone to a halt. The pandemic has brought the tourism industries to its knees. Nobody wants to go for vacation these days. Who wants to spend their money and travel now, right? So this industry is taken a beating, big beating. And related industry to the travel and tourism is the hospitality industry, the hotel industry. This was already reeling, and now with the present situation, the occupancy has gone almost to a zero. Who wants to go to hotels these days? The hotel rates have dropped by about 40 to 50%. There is a very high operating cost, especially at star hotels. Big inventory and big payroll. Imagine if there was nobody wanting to go or nobody going into the hotels. How can they operate? Imagine what impact this will have to the entire supply chain of the hospitality industry. The next big thing is the automotive. Nobody is driving and going out these days, right? Doesn't mean that people will not go back and drive, but it will not go back to how it was. You see, people are not going out and making decisions of buying fancy cars anymore. That's going to be a sure shot. Also bear in mind that the entire job culture, we wanted to go to offices and therefore we needed our cars and it was more important for a daily basis. But now the culture of jobs have changed. It's more of work from home. So travel is going to be very, very limited. And therefore this industry is going to take a hit. The next is the cinema malls or the multiplex formats. This will die. No one of these days want to go to the malls to see movies. In fact, the government is putting on restrictions on gatherings. So box office, theater owners, all of them are going to be hugely impacted by this. The next is the local transportation, public transportation, local cab drivers, the Ubers and the Olas. In fact, they're finding it very difficult to sustain now. The pandemic is forced the city to rethink on public transportation. In fact, the Ubers and Olas have had big time drivers being sent out. In fact, the transportation will have a whole new paradigm change, a new dimension going forward. Another big industry that is lost is the oil and gas. In fact, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the largest producer and exporter of oil, announced this Monday that it was tripling its taxes on basic goods and cutting spending on a major project by around $26 billion as it grapples with blows from the coronavirus pandemic and low oil prices on its economy. In fact, taxes in KSA are going up to 3 times just to sustain the economy. Reliance, a few months back, has actually sold 20% of its stakes to Aramco, the Saudi refinery, the biggest refinery in the world, divesting its shares and focusing on new age businesses. The next business that is affected is the restaurant, the dine-in business. No one is going into dine-in and eat outs these days, right? Coupled with a restriction on gathering, on social gathering and social distancing, the dine-in format or the restaurant business on the dine-in format is going to take a big hit. Of course, this will have to change and evolve. This industry will evolve. The luxury products, another big industry. Focus these days are more on basic essentials, and the entire situation has actually leveled the field. Whether you are super rich or you're poor, the focus is on basic essentials. The next big industry is the live sports industry. Imagine the amount of money that was pumped into this industry, right? Billions of dollars. Now all live sports, games, all formats, indoor, outdoor, including the Olympics, are cancelled. Look at the cricketers now, those who played the T20 format. The entire career was dependent on playing a live match. And see how it has gone down. The next is the real estate. Real estate will never be the same post COVID-19. Huge gap in supply versus demand. Actually, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, many of the largest, in fact, the world's largest developers are rapidly thinking, in fact, revisiting their vision for future of built-in environment. Projects under construction are being redesigned on the fly. Floor plans are being redrawn. So there's a huge change that's happening in the real estate industry. And based on that, construction industry. This is again taking a hit due to the industry slump in the real estate. This being the extension of a real estate industry is directly impacted. The next is the retail store format. No one is going out and buying, right? The retail business where you had a shop and people had to come and buy, that format, go, trade, buy, that format is taken a hit. The next big one is the event and conferences. Moving from a physical space to a more virtual space is in replacement of fluorescent lighting, carpeted floors, chairs, rows that you see in trade events, usually held in hotels and convention centers. So those who were having large format of buildings, they are the biggest losers, right? So these are the industries most affected. So it's not this is not an exclusive. There are many other industries also, but I've just given you a broad path. So if you plan to start a career in any of these industries, then you will need to wake up and reinvent yourselves. Look at adversity as an opportunity to grow, to start to reinvent yourself. You cannot be in your old ideology and, as I said, rigid in your thinking. Rigidity will create difficult situations for you. So what has changed in the world? So you've seen the affected industry, you've seen what things have changed. What has changed? What has changed in the world for us? Oh, the big one, social interaction. Social distancing has become the new norm, right? And people don't want to go. So this is a big change. Workplace or work style is more driven onto work out of homes. Internet usage going through the roof. Millions of people are working from home. Children are attending schools remotely. And no one's heading back to the ballparks, nightclubs, or movie theaters. They're all turned into their home broadband connections and staying connected. So that's a big change that has happened. The next is being health conscious. People are forming, developing new behaviors, diet regimes, exercise regimes. You can see them on WhatsApp groups just floating to protect. This basically is to protect and enhance their well-being. So this is a big industry, a big change that has happened. Consciousness, health consciousness. Less pollution. Levels of air pollutants and warming gases over some cities and regions are showing significant drop as coronavirus impacts work and travel. Look at how nature has transformed. You can hear the birds chirping in the morning these days, right? Yes. The next thing is priorities. Yes, this has changed. Back to the basics. Food, clothing, shelter. As you say in Hindi, roti, kapda, and makan. We've gone back to the basics now. Business models are changing. There's going to be a lasting shift, of course, in social attitudes that we know. And therefore, policy, work, and consumption patterns will likely emerge differently in the post-COVID-19 era. So it's hard to predict precisely how it will shape our perspective on society. But it's possibly that we should see a greater focus on things like crisis preparedness, systems being more resilient, more remote working, more of digital collaboration, workplace hygiene, protection for staff. Those kind of things will change. So the business model will change. The next is family time. This is increased. It has made us rekindle the power of finding solace in the arms of family members, right? I'm sure all of us agree on that. Expenses, they have dropped phenomenally. I think big time drop because you're not going out, and therefore and because of that there are changes happen. Education, the COVID-19 pandemic is set to change the world sooner than we know. The way our governments, institutions, organizations, and people think and function will has all radically changed, perhaps for the long term. Among many economic sectors, the higher education sector is undergoing a tectonic shift right now. What several futurists and educational technologists have been forecasting for a long time is now happening. At least for 2 decades now, the edutech industry or the education technology enthusiasts have been predicting that technology will become the biggest intermediary or the driver of teaching, learning process. And in wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, millions of students across the globe have been driven out of their colleges, their universities, spaces, and professors are actually confined to their homes, right? In fact, higher education stands disintegrated now, and faculty and students are both grappled. I, as a parent, am wondering how do I going to teach my children online classes. So we are grappled with the sudden new norm of completely tech-mediated teaching and learning. So this is a big industry. Having understood this, let's look at what are the winning industries post-COVID. What industries will do well? The first among them is the digital product. There's no hierarchy to it, but I'm just positioning it here. First is the digital product market. Actually, digital products are tools that can be created once and sold many times. It is delivered digitally to your customer and has infinite inventory. Examples could be ebooks, music files, softwares, digital images, website templates, manuals in electronic format. Because physical products are going to involve manufacturing, packing, shipping, logistics, many middlemen, commissions, etc. This digital product economy is going to change a lot. The next is a big thing, a big change called gig economy. This is going to be the next big thing. The whole paradigm of jobs have actually changed. What a gig economy does is you want to pay someone for a project. Say I need to go from point A to point B. I just pay for that part, right? Now the same thing is moving into the workforce. If you go to sites like fiber.com, upworks.com, elance.com, you don't need to have any employees. And so large corporations are going to leverage into the gig economy now, where they're going to have they're going to be paying people based on tasks or per micro project, and all they need to do is have a person like a gig manager that manages these projects, and no one is going to be on payrolls. So the whole concept of payroll will have a whole new paradigm shift. The next big thing is the stock market investing. This is going to increase. While the markets are crashing, this is a time when investors make the most money. Things like algo trading, which is, what is algo trading? It's algorithmic trading, making use of complex formulas combined with a mathematical model, and of course human oversight to make decisions to buy or sell financial securities in an exchange. The next thing is value investing. That's also going to go as part of the stock market investment. Value investing is an investment strategy that involves picking stocks that appear to be trading for less than their intrinsic or their book value. Forex trading, day trading, etc. All of this will change big time. So those of you who have liquid fund and plan to invest, this is the time to get into this. The next big thing that is going to increase is home gardening industry. Fearing shortages of food, People are actually planting more organic and vegetable gardens at homes. Techniques like aquaponics, hydroponics are picking up and post a big business potential in the near future. The next is the online coaching center or the training and teaching, which in fact what I'm doing. This industry is going to definitely pick up as we see the tectonic change in education systems, and therefore it will enable this. Mental health, wellness coaches, many experience of high degree of uncertainty, stress about health, safety, loved ones, of how this pandemic may disrupt our work, our personal lives. All of this is a big challenge for each one of us. So hence mental health and wellness coaching is a big industry that will boom during adversity. And so is the case with alternate energy. Alternate energy encompasses all those things that do not consume fossil fuel. They are widely available and they are environmental friendly. They cost very little or almost no pollution. Examples are solar, wind energy, geothermal energy, which is basically drawn, harnessed from beneath the earth, hydroelectric, biomass, ocean energy, which is basically waves and tidal, using energy out of that. So that's a big industry to go. The next is the insurance industry. Because of fear and because of market uncertainty, this industry is definitely going to grow. And the big one is the gaming industry. According to actually a report from Google and KPMG, the online gaming segment is pegged at $1.1 billion by 2021. In fact, India comes among the top 5 mobile gaming markets in the world and is set to be around 300 million gamers in last year, 2019. And with the COVID-19 lockdown, the online gaming market is actually increased and is witnessing a skyrocketing increase in its user base and engagement. The next is the healthcare industry. The healthcare sector is at the epicenter of an unprecedented global challenge. Of course, the industry is currently witnessing a loss of business because everyone is focusing on only COVID-19, and this trend is expected to continue for a foreseeable future, say at least about 3 to 6 months, after which it will see a big growth back again because of, you understand, the fear, and health is always an industry that will grow. The next is the affiliate marketing industry, selling other people's products. This is a huge market. But one advice is test the value of the product before you actually get into selling that. Okay. And the biggest industry that we know all that has moved is the data science, the Internet of Things, the machine learning, artificial intelligence. So now having understood the current adverse situation, how do we aspire greatness? We are on a lockdown, right? But we aren't locked down. Let me explain this. You see, the seeds of greatness are always sown in the soil of adversity. I repeat that. The seeds of soil of adversity is the place which births greatness. Having said that, it is important for us to know how to maneuver and leverage adversity in the pursuit of greatness. As humans, we like to be in control, right? And we like to be planned. But the thing with adversity, what it does is that it comes without an information and it comes without invitation. And so it catches you unaware and it derails our entire plan. Therefore, it's very important for us not to be pulled down by this, but it's important for us to be able to persevere through a season of adversity. So what is a season of adversity? Is it the current situation, a tough economy, a financial situation, or even a health issue which has kind of caught you unaware? The point is, every one of us go through a season of adversity. And the choice we have when we go through this season of adversity is to first understand that if we are operating out of a victim's mindset, or are we operating out of a victor's mindset? The fact of life is you cannot control the uncontrollable, right? You cannot control the uncontrollable. All we can do is to make the best use of a situation that the adversity presents to us. Now, you know what a victim's mindset is? A victim's mindset is trying to control the uncontrollable. How can I do something about the uncontrollable? For example, how can I do something to alter the economic condition? How can I do something to alter the economic condition? The fact of the matter is, you cannot control the uncontrollable. While the mindset of a victor is slightly different, the victor's mindset is all about how can I maximize controllables. Let me see what I can do with the controllables. Let me actually not worry about the uncontrollables. And that is the difference between a victim's mindset and a victor's mindset. Let's look at an example to explain this well. I'm sure you've heard about the Pareto's principle, right? The Pareto's principle says that 20% of the people achieve 80% of the task. And why is that? If I may ask so, the answer is that 80% of people are worrying about the how do I control the uncontrollable, and you know that you cannot control the uncontrollable. Whereas this 20% of people say, well, these are the controllables. Let me not worry about what is uncontrollable. So for example, if say you are in sales and you've been given a very huge target, a sales target, then worrying about the target is not going to help you, right? Will worrying about the economic condition on how you're going to meet your sales target help? It will not. Instead, if you can spend some time thinking about, say, customer segmentation, thinking about how can I reach back to my existing customers, and is there an opportunity that I can find within the existing customers where I can try and sell, I think that will help you achieve your sales target. So I want to encourage you, be a victor and don't be a victim. As a victim, you cannot handle adversity. Another way of handling a season of adversity is by actually changing your approach, right? So you have probably heard this line, if you always did what you always, if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got, right? If you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got, right? So if you want to get different results, especially during a season of adversity, then I think it's important for us to evaluate it and say, hey, the efforts or my plans for the last year in a different situation cannot give me the same results in a different season because the conditions have changed. Let me give you a very good example. Let's take it cricket. In a test match scenario, the batting average required for a batsman could be about 30 to 40 as a strike rate, right? Which is good because a strike rate of about 30 to 40 is considered good for a test match. But if you're playing a T20 game, the minimum strike rate acceptable there will be about 140 plus. And you cannot interchange the strike rates here. And why is that? Because both could say that. Why is that? Because both are batting. And so why different strike rates? Because the condition in each of the formats are different, right? Similarly, in a test match, if you play a forward defense stroke, you will always be appreciated. While in a T20 match, if you play a scoop shot, you will be appreciated. So you see the difference here. In different condition, you require different approaches. So I want to encourage you to evaluate and say, hey, in this new season of adversity, when times and seasons have changed, and since we are in one of them, what is your approach? If you're going to use the same approach which was used in a pre-corona world, in a post-corona world, we will not get the same returns, or probably we would not get any returns. So as we start a new season, I want you to think, take some time, evaluate all your approaches. Okay, is there something that you could do to change your approach to give you a very different result? Hey, I'm not just talking to you guys with my experience. I'm also looking at this as an opportunity. So you see, you've got to realize that opportunity lies in the epicenter of an adversity. Adversity is the epicenter for opportunities. So during a season of adversity, if you choose to see carefully, you will actually find an opportunity. Take, for example, in a booming real estate market, it will be very difficult to find an affordable house, right? And why is that? Because the market is booming, right? You can say that the market is moving. Then why should I have challenges? Now take another example. Look at a similar situation. In the stock market, when the stock market falls, there is generally panic around. But I think that is the best time and opportunity to identify and pick up stocks of good value. Think about it. Think about it. This is working on the contrary, right? When the markets are not doing well, that is the best time to buy, right? So what does it tell us? It tells us that there is an opportunity in the epicenter of adversity. I'm reminded of about a story on a leading shoe company that sets out two of its executives to another nation to scout for market opportunities. So these two individuals come back, and the first gentleman said that there is no way we can expand our shoe market in this nation because nobody wears shoes. The second gentleman came back and said, I see a great opportunity, a great potential in this market. You know why? Because there is no one who wears shoes, and therefore it's a virgin market. It's a great opportunity to sell shoes. Perspectives, right? That's finding opportunities. So that comes back to my first question. How are we viewing our current situation? Greatest innovations have come as a consequence of great needs. So I want you to encourage and to look and evaluate on your opportunities. In conclusion, like I started, I want to tell you that you are endowed with a seed of greatness. It's up to you to live out that potential and to pursue your personal greatness. You were not born here to just live a mediocre life. You are here to write your own script with the seeds of greatness that have been planted into you. So do not let adversity bog you down. Instead, by having the right mindset, as I said, the victor's mindset, okay, and finding opportunities in the midst of adversity, you will be able to embrace adversity and reach that place of greatness that you've been destined for. Another way to face adversity is to operate in your talent and giftedness. I want to tell you that you are all special, you are all gifted, and you all are talented. Let me explain what I mean here. You are not someone who was made by God without a purpose. You were not part of a batch manufacturing process, like how it happens in a factory. In fact, I believe that each one of you have been fearfully and wonderfully made. You've been crafted in your mother's womb to fulfill a particular purpose, a unique purpose. You see, man is not about personality and intellect alone. Yes, those are important traits. But another important aspect is that everyone has been endowed with a specific talent. Talents are nothing but your area of giftedness. Well, if you have a question, how can I identify my talent? Uh, let me tell you, the first thing that you need to do to understand your talent is to identify that. So what are those activities that you do, or when you engage with others around you tell you, hey, I want to thank you for doing that. I feel so blessed. You've helped me by doing this. Or what are those activities that you would want to do free of cost, just for the love of those activities? Well, that is your area of talent. That is your area of talent. The next thing you have got to do is to embrace this talent, right? Most of the time when we try and embrace our talents, the mistake that we could get into is to compare our talents with somebody else's talent. That comes actually with our wrong interpretation of talent. Because in our mind, we seem to have a hierarchy of talent, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4 levels. This is a higher talent, this is a lower talent. Let me tell you, there is no such thing like that. It's important for you to understand that talents are very specific, but they are also diverse, right? Talents that could range from dancing to debating, from pottery to poetry. So talents are diverse, talents are specific. Therefore, it's important to accept the talent you are given and you hone that talent by working at it. Often we make the mistake that I will exercise my talent or value my talent basis what is the probability of a monetary value gained by using that talent. For example, a talent of singing, well, probably we understand, and it also has got a higher probability of earning more versus probably a talent of being hospitable to people, right? You never evaluate talent basis monetary gains. And if you ever want to have a linkage, between monetary gains and talents, well, it doesn't work that way. Well, what works is when you are excellent at something and when you are gifted at something, that is when there is a linkage between your talent and the money that you get. Let's take an example. Take Roger Federer, for that matter, the tennis superstar. See, he displays excellence every time he plays tennis. And that is why we call him gifted, right? And because he is gifted, that he brings that monetary gain apart from the pleasure he gets in playing the game, right? And so please understand that that it's excellence which gives you the benefit and not the talent by itself. The third thing I want to bring to your notice is that talent is in its raw form, right? But when you work on the talent, when you hone the skills of that talent gets converted to a strength. Now, this is a superior form of raw talent. Okay, your strength becomes a superior form of raw talent. And on a strength, if you engage with patience and perseverance, it becomes a gift. And that's why we say this person is gifted in singing. This person is gifted with art. How did this gift happen? Because somebody took a talent and made it his strength, and then he worked around that strength with a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance until that became a gift. Somebody beautifully summed it up like this: talent is God's gift to you, but what you do with your talent is your gift to God. Talent is God's gift to you, and what you do with your talent is your gift to God. So remember this: you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So identify those talents, embrace those talents, and engage with your talents. Finally, I want to leave this thought to your mind. Put this process as a habit. A habit is nothing but a routine of behaviors that is repeated regularly and then tends to occur subconsciously thereafter. Right? A habit is nothing but a routine of behaviors that is repeated regularly and then it tends to occur subconsciously thereafter. So before I end my session, I wanted to look carefully at the diagram. Quickly identify a talent and build on it each day. Just a 1% change. I would encourage that each of you pick up a copy of this book, Habits of the Heart by James Clear. It's a wonderful resource to help you inculcate good habit and remove the bad ones. Let's take a look at the figure. If you look at the figure, the effect of a small change, in a habit compounded over time, a small change in 1% change each day, you will end up with a result that is nearly 37 times better after 1 year. You see the effect? 1% change daily over 365 days gives you 37 times better than what you were the previous year. So once again, encouraging you guys today as I end, do not let adversity bog you down, but instead embrace adversity and reach that place of greatness that you've been destined for. I wish you good luck and God bless you guys. Thank you.